I am wet in the blood of the Lamb. I am washed in the story of my salvation. By death, death trampled down. By his wounds, I am healed. By his love, I love. Can we not all say that tonight? Do we not all say that? We gather drawn somehow by the sinews of heaven, pulled together as the muscle of grace to this celebration, to the story of one we love, who loved us first, who gave so much to set us free. But we do not watch only, dear people of God. This year, perhaps more than any years at my age or busyness of our parish as we grow, or Lord, may it be so, the deepening of holiness, I don't know. But the story so often told, suddenly the people look very familiar to me in it. Well, not just our young people and some not so young, who impersonate it tonight, that the gospel might find new life in action and practice, as well as word. I see people I know in this story. In the Jesus in the garden, crying out, Father, let this cup pass me by. I see the spouse desperately praying for healing, the one with cancer, whose prayers do not seem to be answered. As I watch the Savior get an answer from his Father, the answer is no. I see a familiar face, Jesus before Pilate. I see someone accused falsely at school of something they didn't do, but no one believes them. Guilt by association, and the crowd they hang with, or what they said. They sit and wonder, does anyone understand? I see the Lord seized from the garden and brought to Annas, the young person whose friends have deserted him because he won't do the drugs or the alcohol. So they think he's just, well, not part of their group. I see the woman who wipes the face of her ill mother with Alzheimer's as she eats, taking care around her lips. As I've seen so many times this year, suddenly Veronica's veil is there, leaving an impression of the truest of icons, his love upon her heart. The women of Jerusalem weep for him on his way, crying out and wailing. And I see how many people with whom I had counseled, who have prayed and felt so helpless in the situations they were in when jobs were lost, covenants broken. And they wondered if ever anything good could come from it. And in their helplessness, all they could do was cry. But the ladies met the Lord in their tears. And so have so many in this parish in theirs. I see so many familiar faces. As our Lord gazes into his mother's eyes from the cross or along the Via Dolorosa, I see every parent who comes to me and says, Father, would you pray for my kids? He's an addict. He's away from church. She's in our third marriage. I don't know what to do. I see 100 parents who struggle against all odds to teach their children of life that has meaning, from womb to tomb, trying to impart their love only to have them seized by a culture that just beats them up because they want to believe it's something bigger than themselves. It's an odd story, really. An odd passion. To suddenly see in it people I know whose prayers have been raised because they've fallen in their journey of faith one time, 2 times, 3 times, and they say to me, Father, it seems like I'm never going to get any better. I want to give it up. I seem to confess the same things over and over and over again. They're so discouraged. And then I see how many Simons and Cyrene come to lift up the young, to put an arm around a spouse that's feeling blue, to carry the cross of a neighbor whose spouse is ill, or whose grief is deep. The passion of our Lord is our passion too, it seems. For wherever someone suffers, wherever someone is in pain, the infusion of grace of this one who walked under so heavy a burden is somehow given to them. How many of us, if we pause to look over this last year, since the last Good Friday, could begin to see familiar faces, people who have helped us carry our cross, who have dropped us a note, or taken us to lunch, children who've understood, or parents who have been there where no one else was there. How many, like the good thief, have cried out, "Remember me, my sin is so great," and thinking that we could never start again, somehow come because of the ministry of a community of faith over this year, have begun the new habit of church and Eucharist, and all of a sudden that sinful, horrible past is past. And we hear, "You will be with me